Dell XPS 17 2022 Review. With its excellent all-around capability and stunning 4K display, the Dell XPS 17 is a fantastic premium large-scale laptop without the usual bulkiness. If you're working from home across multiple applications or if you want to be entertained, the large screen lets you see things clearly and provides an immersive experience. Until we have foldable or extendable screens, you're never going to be able to get the best of either world, but the Dell XPS 17 comes pretty close. By making a larger version of its already excellent laptop, Dell has made one that offers all the screen real estate you could ever need, but in a form that you can almost always carry around. With the Dell XPS 17, starting at $2,199, you get a 12th generation Intel Core i5 CPU, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660Ti graphics card, 8GB of memory, a 1TB hard drive, and a 1080p screen. If you want more power, you can go up to a 15-inch variant with a Core i7-8565U CPU, a GTX 2080Ti graphics card, 32GB of memory, and a 3TB hard drive. It's available from Amazon, Best Buy, B&H, Photo Video, HP, Microsoft Store, Newegg, Tiger Direct, Walmart, and Zavvi. It has an Intel Core i5 processor, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 graphics card, and a 4K display. But it costs £2,709. It's no secret that the Dell XPS 13 is a large laptop, but it's also one of the slimmest and lightest 15 inches out there. It'll be thin enough to fit into most bags and pockets, but not so thin that it'll hurt your back if you carry it every day. The material used for the lid and base is similar to the one used for the larger XPS 15, but the rest of the laptop is made from a different alloy. It has a slightly lower weight than the XPS 15, which makes it feel better to hold and use. Additionally, Dell thoughtfully bundled a USB 3.0 Type-A and HDMI 2.1 cable. There isn't any Ethernet connectivity, but that's not unusual or anything. You've got two antennas for Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2 for mice and wireless headphones. It feels great in your hand, and it fits comfortably into my bag. And it has a very good keyboard. As for the trackpad, it'll be at least 15 centimeters wide, and almost 9 centimeters deep. It'll be smooth, with good sensitivity, and you'll always have an optional touch screen if you want one. I'll confess that I tend to forget it'll be there. You can choose between using either a camera or fingerprint reader to sign into your computer. Both are reliable and quick, so you won't need to use passwords or pins most often. After having just reviewed the Dell XPS 15 with its stunning 3500 pixel OLED screen, I was expecting a bit of a letdown when reviewing the XPS 17 with its 4000 pixel IPS screen. It wasn't really bad, but not quite as good as I'd hoped. The brightness was pretty good, and the colors were nice and accurate. However, when using Office apps, editing photos, etc., the screen was too dim to be comfortable. Let's take a quick glance at the numbers. The 4000 by 2160 display covers 100% of the sRGB color space and a respectable 95% of DCI-P3. That means it can reproduce colors very close to what your eyes see. In our testing, we found the maximum brightness was 532 nits, and with a 0.27 nit black level, the screen had a dynamic range of 1765 to 1. These results were good enough for us to declare this a great value for money option. The average Delta E score of 0.74 also shows how closely the screen matches the human eye. For photo editing and gaming, you'll get accurate colors and deep blacks without having to spend a fortune. It sounds good enough for casual listening without needing to turn up the volume too high. You can enjoy music without having to worry about disturbing anyone else. With 6 performance cores clocked at up to 4.8 GHz, 8 efficient cores at up 2.9 GHz, and 2 graphics cards with ray tracing enabled, the Core i7-12700H is an excellent processor for gaming. If you throw in the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 graphics card, the Dell XPS 17 becomes even better. Its performance in Geekbench 5 and in PC Mark X puts it ahead of other big-screen high-performance notebooks, including the Huawei MateBook 16S, Acer Swift Edge, and LG Gram 16. It won't even slow down most video editing and graphic designing software. Even though the GTX 1660Ti has less memory than its predecessor, it can still run games at 1080p resolution in medium settings. However, if you want to play games at 1440p or 4K resolutions, the RTX 3060 is better suited for that task. It seems that the bottom of the computer gets quite warm when playing 3D graphics in video games. I did notice some loud fans making a bit of noise, so I raised the laptop slightly to allow for better airflow. But finally, I've found something that works well for me. Both Borderlands 3 and Horizon Zero Dawn refuses to start benchmark sequences sometimes, and I had to reboot both games several times because their frame rates were crawling. It doesn't come close to being the best gaming laptop out there, but it's definitely good enough for light gaming and casual use. In any case, when benchmarks would be running on the XPS 17, it was considerably faster than the XPS 15, and only the most specialized gaming laptops will make it appear slow. Furthermore, you can use DLSC to improve your frame rate, and you really need to do that if you're planning to play games at anything close to native resolution instead of the default 1080p. Doing so allowed me to get Horizon Zero Dawn running smoothly at an average of 44 frames per second rather than a somewhat sluggish 32 FPS. Unfortunately, the Dell XPS 17 matches the performance of most high-end laptops when it comes to battery life. With my modern office benchmark, I got a disappointing score of 3 hours and 37 minutes. You might be able to squeeze out an extra hour by turning down the display backlight, but even then, you won't last a full workday. If you're streaming video at near full screen, then you'll see the battery drain pretty quickly. You might get 3 hours of streaming time, but if you lower the screen's backlight level, you could get another half an hour or so add on to that. If I was looking for a luxury laptop with a large screen, then the Dell XPS 17 2nd Gen would be at the top of my list. The 17-inch has an excellent display, and the high spec means you get plenty of power to play with. For gamers, the Dell XPS 17 offers good 3D graphics and a decent gaming experience, but its stability could be an issue. However, if that isn't a problem for you, then the XPS 17 is a solid choice.